Hi, welcome to Math 1. I'm Miss Fraser. A little bit about me. I graduated from El Camino High School. I grew up in the Oceanside community. I've been teaching at El Camino since 2004. So my heart is here. I really look forward to working with all of your students and with you, the families, to make sure that they have a successful year. On the screen is my contact information. The best way to get a hold of me is through my email. That's the quickest turnaround, but you could also call and leave a message on my school extension, and I will get that message. It may take 24 to 48 hours to return. So again, the quickest way is through email, but if you need to, we can set up a Zoom meeting or a face-to-face. So the OUSD Math Placement and Opportunities for Advancement, most students in Math 1 are either ninth or 10th grade. So there's one thing that I want to make sure that's clear, because there's an opportunity for ninth graders that they can't get any other year. They have to have 3 years of high school math to graduate from high school. Two of those have to be Math 1 and Math 2. Most students start out in Math 1, and if they're a student that struggles and they don't pass Math 1, they repeat Math 1 until they pass, and then they'd move forward. And their 3 years of math would have to be Math 1, Math 2, and something higher. As freshmen, they have the opportunity to take AQA. AQA is a class that was designed to help students who have struggled with math in the past, or who need a little bit more help to feel comfortable to be ready for Math 1. It does count for a year of high school math credit, but again, it is only available to freshmen. So if they were to take this course as their first course in their high school sequence, they would take AQA, then Math 1, then Math 2, they'd have their 3 years to graduate, and then they could actually take another course after that, financial algebra or high school math 3, to make them college eligible so that they could go straight to a university. So some things to think about, especially if your student is already struggling. The information that we've been covering so far has mostly been review, so it should be something that they're pretty comfortable with. So if they're struggling already, then those would be students that may want to talk to me or may want to decide that they want to take the opportunity to take AQA. The last day to make that change is the end of the fourth week of the year, which is coming up. So if they are thinking about that, then that needs to be done sooner rather than later. Um, so we will be using Apex Learning as our curriculum this year in Math 1, including when we return to in-person classes at El Camino. And the reason we're using this curriculum, it's different than what we normally use, is because of the uncertainty of how school looks. We want to make sure that there's continuity and that the expectations are clear for students, and that students are getting exposure and work in all of the standards that they need to be successful at the next level. So it's an online curriculum that offers written lessons, videos, practice problems, and assessments. So students are responsible for going through the study pages. They should be taking notes on that in our notebook. They need to complete the practice problems, and they're taking quizzes, and they'll be doing this on their own time, which is built into the school's daily schedule. In order to pass a quiz, they have to score at least a 70% to move on. But if they don't on the first try, they can have a second opportunity. I highly suggest, if they don't get that 70% on the first try, that they go back and do some more work, or maybe come to office hours or ask questions, to make sure that when they do take the quiz the second time, that they are able to hit that 70% threshold. If they do fail a quiz twice, it will lock their Apex. They can get it unlocked. I posted instructions in Google Classroom on how to do that, but they would have to do some more work and show me that they are actually ready to take that quiz. And so we'll have to have some discussions, and they'll have to do some work for me to unlock it. I want to make it clear that students are not on their own this year. So in live class, then we will be clarifying and summarizing some of the critical concepts that they're seeing throughout the week in the Apex. We'll be completing practice problems. They can ask questions. We'll be doing review questions. And we'll also be incorporating some critical thinking skills that we normally would have as part of our course that are harder to do in the environment, on the online environment. So assignments and due dates are always posted in Google Classroom. The APEX assignments have their own deadlines, and they're visible when students log into APEX. So this is what the classroom page looks like. So one of the things that you can be looking at, and this is a student view, they would see upcoming. This is the assignments that are coming up that are going to be due. So there's always a clue what's coming, so they aren't surprised. Here in the stream is where I would put any important information or announcements. This is the easiest way for me to get things to your students, so please encourage them to make sure they're looking at that. Up at the top, we have this classwork tab, and on the classwork tab, when you look at this, then you see that for the week, this is all of the assignments or the items from last week. If it's due, it will tell you when it's due. Any notes that we take during live sessions or class, or any activities that we do in breakout sessions, these will all be included here so that students have them for reference. And then I want to point out down here, and you can reach the important information tab just by looking on the side and clicking it. This is where we have our Zoom links, so both for live meetings and also for office hours. And then I want to point this out down here because that's super special. That is our question library. And the question library is something that students can always access. So if they have questions, it is a good way to get questions answered in a more timely fashion, especially when we're online. They would put the specific problem or topic, give me a picture, because that kind of helps sometimes, and then ask tell me what the difficulty is or what their question is, and then I will respond to these. And I do these at least daily, sometimes several times a day. So this is the quickest way for them to get feedback. And so I may give them some directions, or I may try and explain something. If I think that it needs a video to help explain it better, then I'll link a video or make a video for them, or I might include some notes that might be helpful. The nice thing about the library is this is archived, so students can always reach this. So any questions that have been asked and what those answers are always going to be there as a reference for students. So APEX will account for 80% of their overall grade, and that's the stuff that is actually occurring in the APEX curriculum. Additional assignments and in-class work accounts for the 20% of their overall grade. So right now, currently what we have in ARIES, what you're seeing is all assignments that go in this 20%. So what they're currently getting is not really a huge part of their grade, but you may see that some of your students haven't been keeping up even in the first couple of weeks, so that would be something that you may want to encourage them to keep doing. You can always check ARIES to see what their grade is in class, and you can also monitor on APEX, so log in, have your students show you their APEX dashboard to see that they are keeping up with their work. I do want to make sure that it's extremely important to understand that the actual grade in the course is the grade that is in ARIES. So there is a grade in APEX, but that is not the entire course grade. That's their APEX grade. The grade in ARIES is their actual course grade. In order to pass Math 1, students need to earn at least a 65% or better to move on to the next course. So some additional support, please encourage your students to go into office hours Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 1:25 to 1:45. Those links are in important information. Encourage them to use the question library, and then they can also stay on at the end of live sessions. So we generally don't use the entire live session allotment because it's just too long to be online. So when we end early, I invite students to stay on and ask questions or get help if they need to. For parents, I encourage you to look at the parent summary emails from Google Classroom. So if you are signed up as a guardian in your child's classroom, then you can set your summary emails to either be daily or weekly. And then you should also monitor their progress in ARIES to make sure that they're not falling too far behind. I will try and update ARIES on a weekly basis. So just so you know, you might want to check it at least once a week. So for attendance, all attendance absences from live sessions need to be cleared through the attendance office at El Camino. This includes if students experience tech issues. And I know there's been a lot of that this year, and it's bound to happen. So I've had a lot of people that have been emailing me, I cannot clear the absence. So that has to be cleared through the attendance office. But if you as the parent let the attendance office know if your student was having technology issues, they will excuse those absences. So please make sure that when your students are not at live sessions, that those get excused through the attendance office. In the live sessions, I encourage students to have their cameras on, and I encourage them to actively participate in lessons. So we do chats, we do polls, we do group work within the breakout rooms, and all of those things are part of their 20% grade. And so the way they learn math is by doing math. And so I want to encourage them to make sure that they're actually participating actively. So for return to in-person instruction, we don't know when it's going to happen. We don't know what it's going to look like, but we will continue to use the same curriculum and have the same routines when we return because, again, everything's kind of uncertain this year. We want to make sure that there's some certainty in what we're doing and what's required of them. So one last time, here's my contact information just in case you need it. I am looking forward to working with all of you this year. And if you have any other questions, you can always contact me or make an appointment. Have a good evening.